Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
And welcome back for more punishment.
Oh, she is such a Weisenheimer, this one. So, guys, check in daily, Evolutionary Energy Arts, EEARTS, and over on the newest Heart's Home. And there's just so much to keep up with. And so here we go. First one over here. Multiple law enforcement agencies responding to a U.S. military helicopter crash in Burwell, Alabama. So a military helicopter has gone down. This is in the area of Highway 53 in Burwell Road, Madison County, Alabama. Multiple people are reporting seeing a thick smog with large flames shooting out of the helicopter. Nobody survived the crash. It went straight down. There is this right here that you can see.
Oh my God.
It just went straight down. Not sure why. We have no explanation. Obviously, they will be doing an investigation. And, everything is so tense right now militarily and in so many other ways. Now, if this was just the one incident, but there's just constant things happening. Constant. It's a barrage. It's just a never-ending barrage nowadays. As you see this saying no survivors in this helicopter crash. And we also have a fire breaking out in a chemical tank that leads to temporary evacuations. This is at the Tulsa Port Authority in Catoosa, Oklahoma. And chemicals, oil, these places are most definitely high priority targets from sleeper cells, just to put it plain and blunt.
I know, and that's the information we got when this very first started, is that there's been an awakening, and we have so many things happening. We know lots of people who are completely awake and they are rightfully concerned, but they also know a plethora of their own friends and family who are still asleep, and how anyone could sleep through this, I absolutely do not know. But we all need to wake up to understand that this is real.
Absolutely. And the helicopter crash, by the way, that was in northern Alabama, pretty close to the border with Tennessee. And this is in basically the Tulsa area, as you can see, Catoosa right here, and Oklahoma City off to the southwest. So, it just doesn't end. And here's another, this was Sunday, another fire, chemical related, and this was in Montreal. It's not ever, as you see multiple people talking about this one, it's kind of never ending. One after another. Large clouds of black smoke billowing into the air in Montreal East on Sunday morning after a tank caught fire at a business. I know there's some people that will say, well, you think it has anything to do with earth changes, electrical charges and stuff? Well, if it wasn't for all the war things going on, your mind might drift that way. But we're literally at war already. So the feeling I have is, this is most definitely, the majority of this is warfare.
Well, these are so extremely targeted. These are streamlined. These are intentional, and they're hitting places that are of a great magnitude. And if this were earth changes, I don't think it would be so across the board where these places know exactly where to hit. That would be a little more random. But these are designed to really create havoc in that area. It's like the most bang for your buck. No pun intended.
Back in Ohio, you have Ohio Governor Mike DeWine asked if you would move back into a house in that area. I think I would be drinking bottled water. That's an obvious statement. I think I would probably be back at my house. Man, this echoes that movie, White Noise that we were talking about. And it was a bizarre movie, just bizarre. And I could see where you could think it was one of the worst movies ever made in all time. At the same time, it was like a slow-moving train wreck that you couldn't look away from. Well, maybe you could. They're testing water outside East Palestine, and the results are not good. Contaminated water is bleaching all the colors. out of the testing squares. There's obviously something in the water in very large quantities that's being hidden. Ohio, again, is farm country. I mean, big time farm country. I've lived in Ohio in the past and had family in Ohio. And, this is right on the border with Pennsylvania. What can you say? There's a lot of farms. There's a lot of critters and people dependent on their land. Not a good situation. As you see, at least 3,500 fish found dead across Ohio waterways following this ecological disaster. As you see, Ohio residents scooping up dead fish and frogs 4 miles away from the chemical explosion and the release of toxins following the train. In a single dip of my net, I collect nearly 24 dead or near dead aquatic animals. And this brings me back to being in Florida when we had the red tide. That was so sad and so horrible. And I was living about two and a half blocks away, and the stench was just unbelievable. I mean, you couldn't bear it. It just burned your nose. It burned your throat. It made you dizzy and nauseous just stepping outside to go to the truck. Fox keeper in East Palestine, Ohio, says several foxes he keeps on his property have become mortally ill. Not good. Not a good situation because, again, canary in the coal mine. Protesters standing on the street corner in downtown East Palestine. And, I don't care what they say. It just feels like the whole atmosphere has to be very, very toxic. How else can you put it? And here you have a gentleman going around and talking. He's a podcast host. And he's I'll give you guys all the links. He's just explaining what it smells like, what people went through. Again, we probably won't ever really realize the scope because we're going to have a whole another series of things to contend with tomorrow. This is the way it's going right now. Residents in East Palestine share shocking encounters exposing EPA cleanup job to coerce residents to sign documents to shield Norfolk Southern from liability. And so people are being told, don't take their first offer. They're going to try to get off. This is BlackRock and Vanguard. Again, that is the majority shareholders. This shows a fire on the supposed train in question. Now, is it the brakes on fire, or was there something that it came in contact with, as Cindy had seen, that caused it to start going on fire?
No, what I saw was somebody putting something on the train. I know they're not tires. They're the train wheel things. Right. It was on the wheel, and it was between that and the tracks, and it was very deliberate, and that vision couldn't be more clear. So, but this does clear it up for me that something was stuck on there to do this.
Yeah, and those of you that watch us all the time, when those Idaho murders came out, Cindy gave a really good description of the person that was the suspect, and that's pretty much what, you guys know that watch us on a regular basis. As you see now again, take all these tweets for what you will. These are just people sharing their own stories. This is more than Ohio. This person says they're across the Lake Erie. That's a big, big lake in southern Ontario, Canada, by Niagara Falls. And me and my family have had nonstop headaches for 7 days. We smell it. We smell the chlorine, is how they put it over here in Canada. This is bigger than they're telling us. And you see some residents in East Palestine worry about their health after experiencing headaches and dizziness. 5 people have self-reported respiratory issues as well. Again, please do send your prayers. So this is from the Wall Street Journal. Hey, to save money, maybe you should start skipping breakfast. And again, this is what the elite are going to say, or, well, why don't you just eat crickets? Yeah, sure. Again, there's chitin. I believe it's called chitin or chitin, which in most people is going to cause a severe inflammatory response, can lead to problems breathing. That's certainly not something that we need in these times. Meanwhile, we know they're still not going to change the way they eat. That's obvious. Those members of the few. But skipping breakfast actually may not be a bad idea for many, many people. Again, if you have diabetes, blood sugar issues, that's something to take into consideration. But again, studies have shown time and time again, intermittent fasting can help your body clear itself of toxins. And meanwhile, in New York City, this is what is becoming the norm. Yeah, those are what you think they are. Yeah. They're massive. They're massive. And that's what they got on the Barbie. That's not shrimp on the Barbie, guys. No, those are not shrimp on the Barbies. And this is not the first time I've seen it. This is not the only vendor. I've seen multiple people in New York in New York City selling rats on barbecues. This is where we are now.
I have to ask the question. Are these wild? What are they eating? Where do they come from? Everybody's out there looking to make a buck, to cover the overhead, to make a little extra. Do they just happen to catch these? These are as big as house cats.
They are. Oh, man, guys. Okay. Now that little guy, I'll join him for a salad any day. And no, I'm not going to be eating rat anytime soon. I think a vegetarian diet will do okay. Yeah, I'll pass on the rat.
This guy's adorable. But I do have to say something about Emma, one of our family members. She does have pet rats. I think she still has some now. She really loves them. So that might be hard for her to watch. And I'm very sorry about that, Emma. Times are changing. And I love the bunny. Focus on the bunny, you guys. Be the bunny. Become one with the bunny. I mean, you get nothing but high vibes, and then you can wash all this stuff away. You've heard what you need to hear. You know what you're going to do now, and just focus on the bunny.
Yeah, and now you were mentioning that. And so my daughter, Kelly, too, had pet rats. And in fact, she had one, believe it or not, his nickname was Tidy Whitey. Tidy Whitey, yeah. But he was trained so that he could be out in the yard totally free, and this rat would not leave her side. The rat would follow her indoors, outdoors, all over the place, wouldn't leave her side.
Yeah, I mean, so for people like this who really make them pets like that, wouldn't that be so traumatizing? That would be as bad as seeing a house cat on a thing. It's just wrong. I'm calling it wrong.
Well, sorry, guys. I just wanted to share that. And again, we know that consciousness is consciousness, and that these bodies are just vehicles for consciousness. Thank you guys for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Make sure you're subscribed to all 3 channels. Much love. Stay prepared. God bless, and namaste.
Namaste.